Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Grace Gong. I'm the founder of Smart Venture Media, and I host a popular VC podcast called Smart Venture Podcast, which John was a guest on our show before. And I'm so excited to be here today with all of you. And I have hearing so many amazing presentations earlier and talk to some of you. You guys are brilliant. It's such an amazing and inspiring day. And today I'm here with my good friend John from Madrona. So why don't we start with John? You're a partner at Madrona, and then before that you were at Amazon for over 9 years. Why don't we start with a little bit background of yourself?
Check, check. All right. I'm someone who's using a microphone for the first time, so nice to meet you guys. Even before I talk about myself, I just want to say what's special about events like this. The world of AI that we're all in is moving so fast that people who don't like to share and learn from other people are at a huge disadvantage. The only way we can keep up is by learning together. I happen to like to do that, and so that's great for me, and I think it's great for all of us. So I'm glad we're doing it. Now, as Grace said, I am a partner at Madrona Ventures. We're an early stage venture firm based right here in Seattle, and we also have an office in Palo Alto. And we invest anywhere from the first check through Series C or so in domains we know really well, including AI, where we've been investing for more than 15 years. I've been doing this for 3 years. I was at AWS for a long time, and I was a founder before that. So I've been on many sides of the table. That's a bit about me.
Amazing.
Keep sharing?
Is this on? Okay, sorry. Keep sharing. So I think the first topic I want to kick off today is something very controversial in VC. A lot of investors are very bullish about infrastructure, and this year a lot of investors are really focusing on applications out of AI, especially AI agents. John, what's your thought on what's more important?
So the question is, where should we be building, right? Should we be building at the application level or the infrastructure layer? And the joke that some people have heard me share before is there is infinite opportunity at the application layer and only enormous opportunity at the platform. Enormous is just fine. NVIDIA is a great business. AWS is a great business. And so it means that there's enough opportunity at each of these places. And teams and founders and builders have their own DNA and their own things that they love to do. So really the economic opportunity and the TAM out there should not be stopping you from doing what it is that you love at either of these levels.
Love that. I feel like they're both very important, and then there's also a merge of new type of companies that are coming out of both infrastructure and the application layers because of its both different sectors are like emerging as well. So maybe I want to talk about observation. So I was at the exhibit room earlier, and a lot of people were wearing vibe coding t-shirt. John, what's your thought on vibe coding?
Vibe coding is fun. Just a show of hands. Who here has tried vibe coding app? Okay, a good number. It's fun. And I want to step back and maybe give some credit to perhaps the original vibe coder app, which is Microsoft Excel. 1 billion people use this thing. It's by 10 miles the world's most popular programming environment. And you can do $100 billion M&A with Excel. You can also do a grocery list with it. That's how versatile it is. Now, back to vibe coding. What it's doing is it's expanding the set of applications that are practical to build. Until now, you needed to have the language. You needed to know Python or Rust or whatever. And you need to be able to think systematically, and you needed a really great idea, which meant many apps just weren't born, and many truly great visions just didn't come to life. But with vibe coding, all of a sudden, we can open the whole left side of that distribution great ideas can come to life much more easily. And I'll give you an example that is really powerful for me. The founder of Replit, Amjad Masad, he's a really good engineer, okay? He does not need a tool to help him for lack of ability. And he wrote this story on social media that, his doctor asked him to keep a sleep diary for a week. When did you go to sleep? When did you wake up? How did you feel? Gave him a PDF to fill out. And Amjad said, well, look, filling out a PDF is a pain in the neck. My other option is to print this thing and definitely lose it. What to do? So Amjad fed his PDF, his doctor's PDF, into Replit Agents, which is their vibe coding service, and asked it to create a simple app that he could use from his mobile web browser on his phone that tracks when he goes to sleep, when he wakes up, and how he felt. And at the end of the week, spits out a CSV. A simple app that he'll use for that 1 week and never use again. Never would have done that before. He could have spent a Saturday afternoon to create it, but probably would not have done that. And so this is the kind of thing that just becomes practical in a whole new way with vibe coding tools, and I think we're just at the beginning of that.
I'm so excited to see what kind of vibe coding tools that you guys are building. But before that, I want to know, John, there's so many AI agents company out there. What kind of AI agents excites you the most? Maybe we start with defining what kind of AI agents are in the market right now.
Yeah, so, agents are a super overloaded term. I think people are asking, are agents just the new AI? Is everything agents? And in a way it is. Agents are turning out to be the form factor of applications on top of foundation models. That's just what it is. And within that, there are actually a few form factors that are starting to congeal. We've got copilots, like GitHub Copilot. We've got teammates that will respond to requests in Slack or Teams or whatever that can actually take something off the sprint board and come back later, whatever it is. There are swarms of agents that will spin up thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of individuals that can then interact and sort of be an agentic Monte Carlo, if you will. And there's what you can call ambient agents that don't need any instructions and just go off and read your inbox and propose responses and many other things like that without needing any instructions at all. So these are the form factors of agents that we're seeing, and you can hear within it there's like an implicit evolution. You start with low blast radius things, writing marketing copy. Nobody gets hurt if you guess wrong. And eventually we're doing more and more sensitive things, and they climb up that curve from being a co-pilot to a teammate to a swarm to an ambient agent.
John, you're also building your own AI agent. Why don't we talk about what are you building as an investor and how are you building it?
Yeah, so I was a founder before Amazon. Amazon was way too smart to let me check in code, and so I definitely didn't do it there. But when I was the CEO, nobody stopped me. And as a VC, again, I get to write some code. What we're seeing in every industry and every application domain is that AI is changing the game, and the ones who aren't thinking about that are missing something. So one thing we talk about all the time at Madrona is how can we use AI and data more effectively to do our jobs better, to prioritize founders that we might have missed, to spend time with more founders, to support founders better, and so forth. And so one thing that I've been working on for months is a multi-agent architecture that has individual AIs that read different feeds of data. My inbox, Hacker News, public news on X, different sort of GitHub data and some other feeds, right? And applies logic to them to help surface things. And what I'm learning about this is a few things. The underlying technology is really powerful. You can get a lot of insight. It's also really hard to build with. There's a lot of sharp edges to get these things to work reliably. My agents are broken almost as often as they're not broken. The third, and this is specific to venture, but in a way very general, what it does is it looks at the infinity of opportunity that's out there. That's what these agents are doing. There's an infinite set of ideas, probably an infinite set of founders, and lets me then distill that through what are the things that I'm interested in? What are the ways that I'm looking at the world that are different than maybe anybody else? And helps create that match more efficiently between founders who have brilliant ideas and are looking at the world in a slightly crazy way, and the specific kind of crazy that I have an appetite for, at a given moment. And so those are some of the things that I'm learning by building some agents with my own hands.
Love that. I really like that a VC could actually roll up their sleeves and then building an AI agent themselves. And this is so today I feel like coming from SF to Seattle, I feel like there is so much passion and so many builders in Seattle are building really exciting projects. Maybe we could talk about what do you think makes Seattle startup ecosystem different versus everywhere else?
The density of technical talent here is pretty remarkable. We've got the first or second biggest technology office of most of the companies that matter in Seattle. We've got a higher number and higher density of elite engineering and AI talent than anywhere else on the planet. Got University of Washington, which is, Jeff Dean went there, things like that. So there's a lot of very special ingredients here. When it comes to DNA, remember what I said before, about founders should do what they love. There are certain kinds of industries and certain kinds of DNA that founders have here that are very natural. I think we heard from Vijay Raji of StatSig today, and he was the founder of Facebook Seattle and built what is Meta's biggest office in North America outside Menlo Park, if I'm not wrong. And he also built the testing infrastructure that Meta uses to test new products called Deltoid. StatSig is Deltoid for the rest of us. And so all of that work that is happening inside University of Washington, inside the rounds of successful startups that we've had, inside the big tech companies, inside the biotechs, is very special and very rare.
Totally. I guess, is there any Seattle specialized startup opportunity that you're seeing? Or I guess, what are some interesting AI opportunity that's not, overly built by the startup community that you think should have more attention on?
There's one that I'll talk about that is, Amazon and University of Washington are two of the key leaders on Earth in a domain called automated reasoning and formal methods. This is an ancient field that's been around for 20, 30 years. It's useful for, verifying that software behaves the way that it's supposed to. Really important for building, a fighter jet or the billing system at AWS. You can't be approximate with those things. You can't mess them up. In recent years, it's turned out that you can move automated reasoning beyond the kind of non-scalable, expensive, labor-intensive artisan craft that it has been, and you can scale it better. And if there's any city on the planet that is equipped to be the hub of automated reasoning, it's the home of Amazon and University of Washington right here in Seattle. I kind of think that this is equivalent to where deep learning was 15 years ago, automated reasoning today.
I think, coming from Amazon, for over 9 years. What are some interesting learnings that kind of changed your career trajectory?
You know, I'll tell a story that I misunderstood at the time, and I have subsequently understood better later. An early meeting with Jeff where we were proposing something that ultimately became Alexa, but this was a predecessor to it. We were going to build smart home automation, and the idea was we're going to, unlock your doors. That was a killer feature, and partner with Schlag, who are this 100-year-old lock manufacturer. They make the best locks. Probably many of our locks at our homes are Schlag. And so in the mock press release, which is required at Amazon, we said, hey, we have this new thing, and it's going to be partnered with Schlag. Why is it cool? We didn't figure that out yet. And so Jeff wasn't all that excited about it, and he was probably right in retrospect. He said, guys, I really don't know if we found the right formula yet. Maybe I'm wrong, and if you're really passionate, you should go build it. But I don't think you should necessarily partner with Schlag. If locks are the key to the whole market, I think you should go buy a factory in Germany or whatever and learn to be the best mechanical lock manufacturers on earth. And then at the time, it took my breath away. I thought, wow, this guy is hungry for absolutely everything. He can't give, a couple pennies of margin to the guys who are going to make the locks and keys. But it wasn't really that, I don't think. I think what he was saying is that when you have the right opportunity, you're going to know because you want to jump in head first. And in retrospect, that's what I take from that story.
I really like that. I feel like it's all about recognize opportunity as well as actually taking actions on it. And in the end, since you're an investor, and I want to say, honestly, your first job was a founder. So what are something that you feel like you would tell your younger self as a founder now that you're an investor that you think you should do or not do?
I mean, I got everything wrong. I in my first pitch meetings, I was coming in with a optimistic view that by year 5 or 10, we'd be generating $40 million of revenue per year, which sounded like a lot of money to me, but is not all that inspiring actually to an investor. But what I really took from it is the distinction between the investors who were kind to me and, gave me useful advice, and the ones who weren't. Some of the ones who were kind did invest. Some of the ones who were kind didn't. I'm close to them now as an investor, and I still remember that all these years later. A German friend of mine uses an expression in English that I imagine may be a common German expression that says, you always meet twice. You always meet people twice. And so, the way we treat people in a certain situation, they're going to remember how we made them feel, and that's the most basic fundamental lesson I took from that whole experience.
I really love the humility because I think in the end of the day, we're all humans, and no matter you're a founder or investor or you're AI, in the end of the day, it's all relationship driven. And today we're here to build these relationships. Looking at people around you. Today, maybe they're a founder or they're a builder. So I think everyone should always take the time to appreciate that we have this community that we can depend on each other. Building a startup is hard, it's lonely, but I'm so glad that we have the Seattle Startup Summit to kind of support all the innovations and build these relationships starting from today. And I'm sure one day you will look back to think about the journey. Hope this entire experience will make you less alone, more optimistic about what you're building. And thank you guys so much for tuning in today.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you, John.
All right.
Thank you. All right. That concludes our programming for the day. So thank you guys all for being here. Thank you to the speakers, all of the wonderful sponsors, and all of you for being here. This is really the beginning of, at least I will hope that this is the beginning of more startup activity here in Seattle. And it was really wonderful to see such an amazing turnout for an inaugural conference. I hope I'll see you guys all again next year, and maybe also throughout the year for Seattle Tech Week or other hackathons or things like that. So that concludes our programming for the day. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys around.